Welcome to All Aboard Wisdom. Well, Roxy Carter here. I'm the one who's going to be taking you on your All Aboard excursion today. And today's topic, I think you're going to really dig it. It's big, it's major. Interestingly enough, this topic has been going around for eons and eons and eons, probably since actually creation. Oh, gee, I wonder what that topic could be. And today's topic is, drum roll, are you ready for this? It's going to be on energy. Now, you hear so much about energy this, energy that. We're trying to harness energy. You know, we got those little windmill things going on, trying to save energy. Boy, we're going to go into places you probably haven't even been to before. And if you've been touching on energy or you've learned it a little bit, however, or wherever you learned it, I want to take you into the Roxy Carter adventure and really delve into it because I've been doing this for 33 years. I am an investigator in mind, body, and spirit. And I want to share a few things with you. And the whole thing is for us to grow together, to get enlightened, and you come up with your own conclusions. Nobody's going to tell you this is what you believe, and I don't think anybody should twist your arms, or both arms. But today I want to talk about energy and a major place a lot of people forgot all about, or you thought it was something in mythology. Well, I'm going to bring it up. I'm Greek, and Greeks know about mythology, but we also know about history. We go way back. Not me. I haven't been hanging out with Plato and Socrates and all them boys, Aristotle, but I really value what the ancients knew about things. And to bring it into the contemporary world to where we are right now, it's not about just knowing it to be smart or the ultimate historians. We need to be able to, what we know, how about putting it to use? See, to me, with my personality, and my nature, I have to say, give me some facts, but tell me how I can use it. Why would I walk around with a bunch of facts in my head? I'm not trying to walk around, look smart. That doesn't do it for me. But knowledge is power. And by the way, when you used to go into the gates, again, I wasn't there. This is what they say. When you used to enter the gates going into ancient Greece, on the two sides were pillars, and they had a couple words written, and it said knowledge, 3 words. I take it back. Knowledge is power. So people from all over the world would go in there and they would learn and then take it back to their own countries, to their own people, and then they would work with this knowledge. And knowledge is power. So if you don't have knowledge, I'm going to put it this way. I don't want to say you're ignorant, but ignorance means a lack of knowledge. And if you don't have knowledge, you don't have power. So it's like having a curling iron. See, this is a girl thing, we'd relate to it. I don't think too many guys do it. But if you don't have, you can have a curling iron, but if you don't have power, honey, it's not going to curl anything. And I can tell you with this, I definitely need power to use some energy to do what I do and to achieve certain looks that, you want to get. Again, this is more of a girl's things, but hey, guys can use whatever they want to for a curling iron or whatever else you want to do. But let's just talk about, I like to keep things light, learn, but have fun with it. So again, one of the first places, and there's books on it, there's volumes on it, and many of them got destroyed in a thing called the Library of Alexander. It held the books of wisdom from all over the world, where people from all over the world collected wisdom, knowledge, and whoever wanted to come in there, and there were quite a few people who came in and ravished those places, they went in and they burned it down. They burned it down a few times, actually. And people ran and hid the manuscripts. They hid them here, they hid them there, they brought them back out. And then there's going to be those people who really get their panties in a twist. They don't want you to have knowledge. They don't want you to have power. So they try to destroy it so nobody else gets it, because it takes something away from them, power or whatever, prestige, whatever, away from them if you have the power. So this is stuff, and it was from Atlantis. So much stuff came out of Atlantis, and things they do know that they have maintained and they know is true. It's a fact. Well, Atlantis actually used to use lasers. How did they use lasers? Going to blow your mind. They used crystals. Atlantis, because of wherever it was at exactly, we can't pinpoint it. We just know the ground and everything was full of quartz, which are crystals and things made out of that. And they learned back then, or they were taught by whomever they were taught, or God showed them. We don't know. So I'm not going to go around and say, oh, the aliens did it. God taught them. They stumbled on it one day. All I know is that they did use crystals. You use crystals today in your watch. You use it on your TVs. You use them in your cell phones. They're on everything because they are a powering tool. They knew this many, 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 many eons ago, and they went too far with it. They advanced too quickly. The people from Atlantis, called the Atlantans, they did advance way too quickly. And if God would have allowed, and God does step in because he had plans for the world to, hang out for a long, long time. But man sometimes goes in and pushes and pushes and pushes. I want to climb. I want, like the Tower of Babel. They were determined they were going to build this tower in Babylon, and they were going to reach the tower, and they were going to reach up and be up there where God is. Well, I guess he just, made sure that wasn't going to happen to him. Out down came the tower. But Atlantis got sunk. It got sunk under the water. And there is still many manuscripts from it, and they talk about energy. These people were geniuses with energy. They were doing surgeries with energy. They were doing all kind of stuff. It was phenomenal what they could do. So we're actually behind in time in our thinking, because we only use like the size of like a pea size, a mustard seed size of our brain. Thank God we do, because, there are people who are dark, evil, all that stuff in the world, toxic, all that, and they would have ruined the world over and over and over again. So I do believe God has restrained some of this knowledge so we can at least all of us share the planet and not go destroy each other. So anyway, let's get off of that because we're not talking about that. But the thing is, Atlantis was big. These people were amazing what they knew, but when they got too far with it, and they were too advanced, it actually broke off and it sunk into the ocean. So a lot of it was still retained in the libraries of Alexander, and many of the information is still retained today. A lot of people don't know anything about it, but I think it's more important to work with every day of your life instead of trying to learn about always the past. But just you need to know energy is nothing new. We just didn't come up with it one day. It's always been here. And the day I believe that God created everything that he created, he did it with energy, and he left us with energy. The human body, when you're well, you're in a good place, because what you eat, what you drink, what you think about, what you watch, what you eat, what you drink, what you think about, what you watch, what you see, what you listen to, you are going to change your own energy. You're doing it to you. You, that's you, are doing it to you by what you're choosing to do in all those areas. So you are at the steering wheel of your own energy, and many people are self-destructing and doing that, which is really, really sad, because there are people who are born as little children, as you know, they come into the world sick, they have problems, there's an awful lot wrong. But for those of us who didn't have that, and you're doing it to yourself, that's a shame. But just know that there is a thing out there, energy. It's very real. And I'm going to show you some things today. And you think, yeah, I know a little about this, but a little bit about this, a little bit about it. But that is like, you're like, a little bit of everything, but you really don't know the power therefore in it, and you don't really know how to master it. So I need you to start mastering yourself by knowing some of these things, because knowledge is power. So on our Roxy All Aboard Wisdom train, let's take a peek at a couple things. And I did put some notes up here. I was told, and I think it's very intelligent, I was told this: don't carry notes around. Well, sometimes I like notes. To me, they're just very tangible. I like books. Some people don't like even books to read anymore. They want them on, a little disc or whatever you want to call it, a little handheld device. I dig paper, but I was told, hey, on some of your podcasts, do yourself a favor. It wasn't even YouTube who told me this. It was just my friend said, hey, let's see how you do it without paper in your hand. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I do have what they use in prompters. They use it on TV, radio. I've been in radio and TV for decades and decades. I've had my radio show, my own talk show. I've done all this stuff. So I do know about, prompters and little boards. I call them the cheat sheet boards. So that's what I'm going to, pinpoint a few things off of that today. Well, first thing is energy it is basically unseen. What is energy? You deal with it every day. You get up, you put something in your microwave, you don't see anything happening. You don't see it. I mean, a light comes on usually if your microwave's working properly, but you don't see anything happening, and it's cooking and heating up what's inside of there. You might not see what's really going on. Put something aluminum in there or something, you're going to have a explosion, you see? But again, energy is meant to be not seen because the creator is watching. The creator God is watching how you're going to choose to use energy in your life. Don't think God sits up there, twiddling his thumb or, oh, well, it's lunch break. I got to take a break. He don't blink. He's watching every one of us. I believe this with my heart, my soul. You can't convince me any different. And he's watching, and he has a right to watch how we're using energy. He watches how we're using our time. He also watches how we're using energy. And the effects of energy, believe me, they are very, very powerful. Some people don't know this, but I used to have my own hair and nail salon. Not important because that's not what we're doing right now. I've always done business in my life. That's what our family did. I was into a business world, and I enjoyed that. But there's a thing that you could use. It's called a hair rake, and it came from Tesla had the idea where it's glass. It looks like a little rake, little bit, and you run it through people who are going bald. They're going bald, or their hair is thin, and the person using it runs, meaning the hairdresser, the barber, runs it across the scalp. And what it does, it stimulates the nerves with this energy field. And what it does, the hair starts to grow again. It goes, oh, we're supposed to grow. We were going to sleep or we were dying. That's your hair roots talking, by the way. And then all of a sudden you think, oh, I'm supposed to grow. Oh, wow, I better perk up. Interestingly enough, and people don't realize this, and I'm glad they told us, but the people who are using the equipment, we're giving the treatment to the person who's going bald or their hair is thinning or yada, yada. We start to get hairy. We start to get the same benefit. So all of a sudden, and us Greeks, we're a little bit on the hairy side. I don't mean we're like gorilla quality. I mean, maybe some are. I mean, I'm not gorilla quality. I just want to clarify that. But I mean, all of a sudden, I noticed like I've got a little more hair going on my arms. They have a little more under the arms, shaving things. I mean, I wasn't growing a goatee and a beard or anything that I remember anyway. But I'm just saying it's a phase because by the person using it on someone else, it's transferable. The whole point here is it's transferable energy. So when you're giving it out, it also returns to the sender. And don't forget that because that's how karma works. So whatever you're sending out, even with karma, that's a whole other podcast. Okay. We're going to have a ball with that too. But whatever you send out, whatever it is, it's going to go out. It's going to do a U-turn. It was made that way by the creator, and it's going to return to the sender. So be careful what you send out, whether it's thoughts, feelings, whatever. You just don't go around wishing people bad because when it goes around, you think, oh, well, I hope that hits them. It's a boomerang. It comes back around and it hits with the impact. It brings it back threefold to yourself. So I'd be out there blessing everybody I could. I'd be thinking all the warm and fuzziest things I could think because that's what I want to come back to myself. But energy actually is the thing that rivets and works behind karma. So in case you wondered about that, and by the way, karma is only good or bad based on who's using it and what you are sending out. So it all brings it back to you yourself. Okay. Now another thing I want to talk to you about, let's see, I got so many things up here. We have a thing called an ethereal body. People go, I don't know what that is. Okay, ethereal body means that when God created you, there is an energy field. Everything has it. Everything has an ethereal body, but mostly people, pets, animals. And the ethereal body basically extends about, say, 2 to 3 feet from your actual body. Okay, 2 to 3 feet from your human body. And you ever go in a store or you go somewhere and nobody even said or did anything, and all of a sudden you're like getting that feeling and that vibe about that person or whatever. They didn't say anything. They didn't even look at you. They walked past you. All these things. You ever have a person, you get a chill go up the back of your neck and whoa, what was that? Well, this ethereal body, and this is actually something that animals, we have 5 senses. We have our 5 senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, all that. Animals have a 6th sense that we don't have. People who have intuitive gifts, that's a whole other one. We're going to talk about a 6th sense. You have 5 senses. People who are empaths, people who actually can pick up other things, they have that extra sense built in them. We'll talk about how that happens and why it's in their gene pool. Whole other one. So, just stay tuned for all my fun but informative teaching podcasts. But what I want to say is this ethereal body, it's always active. If you're alive, anything that's alive has this ethereal body. It's like, say, 2 to 3 feet. It extends from you and it picks up energy. It sends out energy, picks up energy, and we're doing it all day long. So this is even before all these, satellites up there throwing all these wave things around, energy waves. We've been doing this and throwing things off to other people. That's also why some people are very attracted to another person and another person is recoiled. Do you ever see somebody say, I don't know what he sees in her. I don't know what she sees in him. There's this deep attraction. And it's not because she looks like, Cher or, some great movie star, or he looks like The Rock or something. It's just there's something in the energy that is a connecting thing and it locks them into each other. And that could be good or bad because some people can hold you and they're very toxic and negative energy, and then you feel like you can't break away from them. It's like chains on you. And then the positive ones you're going to have with energy, you're going to be drawn to them, and then you give them positive, they give you positive, and it's a very good existence and time together on the planet. So that's yada yada. Some more things I just like to bring up. I'm going to go all over the place. I hope you do have a notebook. I really said this from the almost maybe 1 or 2 podcasts in. Please go get a notebook. Please get a bunch of pens. Have them ready. Take notes. I do talk fast, and a lot of stuff as fast as it comes to me. I have to, get it up and out, but it holds a lot of information. And podcasts, I'm not going to sit here for like 3 hours. My seminars, I'll go 2-3 hours with you. I love it. But I'm not going to do that in a podcast because you need to keep them limited, one for time. The other thing is we're all busy people, and it's just something that we need to keep it limited so you have time to think about it. Plus, you can go back, tap it, and go back and say, I'm going to listen to that again and again. Revisit. Please revisit all my podcasts because there's so much that comes out in each one that you're going to really need to go back and think, now that makes sense. Something about she said in maybe podcast 2 makes sense in podcast 6, yada, yada. So it's all connected. So that's another thing. Now, the other thing is all energy. One of 2 things. It's either absorbed. Energy does get absorbed. So knowing that energy does get absorbed, it's going into, how they say your skin is the biggest organ in your body. I heard somebody just tell me the other day, I never knew that. I go, how old are you? I think I'm 52. You're 52 and I thought it was maybe my lungs or some big organ. I go, honey, I don't know how to break it to you, but your skin is the biggest organ and it absorbs and pulls in everything. So what you put on creams and oils and, what you put on yourself, what you're around, an insecticide, whatever it is. I mean, it's drinking it up. It's like sucking it up. Okay. So your body is always absorbing energy. And many times it's on purpose from other people. And I'm going to explain what on purpose to the good is. And then I'm going to explain to you what very detrimental is. Absorbing good is you go get a massage. Absorbing good is somebody's is petting you. They're loving you. They're hugging you. They're sending you love. They're sending you kindness. They're sending you healing vibes. They're sending you love, and it makes you feel better. It affects your endorphins. It affects the chemicals in your brain and your body. There are other people who are the toxic. I call them dark gray, whatever you want to call them. How about some of the black ones? We're not talking anything to do with colors of skins or anything else. We're talking soul color. There are souls that are brown. Brown souls are just really sick. And when people touch you, they actually make they have so much anger and awful stuff in them that they actually send disease through to other people because their soul is diseased. So again, knowing energy is transferable. It's like a transfer pass. It's very transferable, and it is absorbed. It can be given out, intentionally given out. It also can be pulled out. What is pulled out? Anybody ever see The Exorcist? I mean, that's something that, think, hey, let's have some popcorn and then go to bed at night and watch something like Linda Blair. But that movie was just an example. Let's just pull this out because we're not talking exorcisms or anything. But what happens, there's times that you've been around people, you've been around energy, you've been in a place, whatever it is, and you really need to have that energy taken off of you. You need to have it pulled off of you. you. Sometimes it's being taken off of you through prayer. Sometimes it's taken off of you through holy water. Sometimes it's you yourself praying, meditating, and you're lifting it off yourself. You're peeling it off yourself, or you're using prayer and meditation. So you're loosening it up through the prayer, and then you're releasing it through meditation. It could be through many different things. But that's just another thing that I just wanted to bring out. So just realize you have that ethereal body. It comes out 2 to 3 feet from your body, and people use it to throw off things intentionally or unintentionally. But there's also a time when you have to cleanse it off and pull it out. A really important thing I think is cool to do is I'm a bath girl. Not that you need to know that. I like bubble bath. I like the whole shebang and all that stuff. But yeah, we're not going into it. I'm not going to take you in there and show you my really cool tub with jets. It's not going to happen, okay? But I will tell you that when you do take a shower, you could do some really good work on your own body. Okay, as you're in there, just say everything, God, that is I've come in contact with through the day, through my thoughts, my words, other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, other people's energies, everything else. Especially if you work in a busy, crowded place. As I'm in the shower and I'm soaping it, would you please actually use that to wash it off me and down the drain? Seeing it, washing it off and down the drain. Baptism, it's a perfect thing. They've always considered baptism, whether you sprinkle the baby, that's a lot of the world religions, or you use where the adults, you get immersion, where you go down into the water or the tub or the river, and then you get it all washed off of you. And then, then you're like clean and you start all over again. And hopefully you don't contaminate yourself again with people and things externally or internally. How do you contaminate yourself? There's something that people do need to realize. One way that there is a thing called, and whether people like the word or not, we call them sins. In Greek, we use the word martia. You don't have to have a lesson in Greek today, but martia or sins means things that are toxic to you. Now, there are things that are toxic to you, and there are things on the outside of you, and there's things that are toxic to your body. So when you hurt yourself with drugs and alcohol, you are destroying your body, okay? Sexuality, when people have sexuality, since we all have emotions, your emotions go into all the body fluids in your body. All the body fluids in your body that come out of your nose, where you're kissing, your saliva, and through, sperm, egg, and all that other good stuff. Let's just call it what it is. We're probably mostly adults here hearing this. This isn't Sex 101, but it's a fact that energy gets transferred through sexuality. So who your partner is, if you think that's not going into you, it actually meshes with your body and you start to become like them. It's like making a recipe and you add a cup of this, you add a cup of that, and then you got a recipe. And then you wonder why you feel like you do. We're not talking about passing even on a disease. We're talking about the thoughts, the energy, whatever's in other people. And that's another way that energy is passed around. Also, energy gets changed when you're doing alcohol and when you're doing drugs and things like that. So if you think energy is just, something in your light fixture or something you're getting from a satellite or whatever, energy started on the day of creation. Energy never dies. It's always circulating, and it's always, here's the big one, it's always up to the person, individual, you, me. You and me and you, us, we, how we're going to use it and what we're going to bring into our body and what we're going to allow out of our body. Let me get a little sip of water here. So another thing is, let's talk about energy. I am huge for being a thrifter. That don't mean that I am cutting coupons. That means I like thrift stores. I love estate sales. I love things like that. I just think they're very cool because when you go to those stores, you're not finding cookie cutter things like you find at some of the regular stores that end in the word Mart at the end. You can get some pretty unique things in from different eras and generations. Here's another thing about that. If you're going to go and do that, just remember, every object in this world, once you make it yours, it's important. Every object that you say, I'm going to make it mine, you put the word mine on it. So it's your chair, it's your cushion, it's your pillow, it's whatever, it's your shoes, it's your furniture. I don't care what it is. When you call it mine, you've stamped your energy on it. Now, since people don't live forever, and a lot of things, I hate to say it, but a lot of things in estate sales, things you see at a lot of the thrift stores, people have passed away, people box up stuff and they take it in there. There's other people who just donate it because they want something new and different. Million reasons. But everything that has been sat on, held, or you had endearment with, or things that you were on, sitting on, laying on, beds, pillows, blankets, all this stuff, it absorbs energy. So remember, energy is transferable. So if you're going to do that, and I do that, if things are going to come into my home, and there's a lot of it because I just love a whole bunch of stuff that's really ornate and unique stuff. But I always do, I bless it. I either use holy water or I bless it. And I ask that any past energies be removed from it so it starts fresh with me. So do be aware of that. Now let's talk about going to hotel rooms. When we go on vacation, hotel rooms, and it looks wonderful, the sheets are all cleaned and bleached and it's beautiful and pretty and bling bling and all that. But it's still very important. Remember, a lot of things happened in the chairs that you sit on, the bed that you were on, and all emotions get absorbed into furniture, into objects and things. This is a fact. Just because you don't see it, you don't see an x-ray. When you look and you go into the dentist or the doctor, you don't see it. It's an invisible energy. Everything is pulling it in and everything is excreting it back out. The people who are more sensitives, we call them sensitives, empaths, those type of people. When you have more sensitivity and all that, and you feel things, that is who this stuff even affects more. Now, there's going to be people in the world, I call them the sociopaths, the hard rock people. They don't feel anything. I don't get nothing. I don't feel nothing. You know what they say? I don't think about it. You know, it might just, they're going to pick it up, but it's going to roll off them. But the people, many times things that you have or that you're going through, if you've been in a house or in a place or whatever, and there's been a lot of anger, there's been violence, there's been severe depression, all that, and you take that object or you're in there and you're sitting in it or you're around it, we're going to use the word marinating in it. If you're marinating in it because you're there, many times you're going to start feeling, man, I don't know why I'm so depressed. I don't know why I feel so down. I don't know why I feel like crying. I don't know why I'm so angry. I don't know what this is about. We're running into constant energy fields in this world, and we might as well learn that these things are real and exist just because you don't see them. God exists, you don't see him. Okay, so everything does exist, and just because you don't see it. Another big podcast I'm going to do is going to be talking about the moon and the phases of the moon, because you don't see the moon doing anything. Here's the moon, here's the ocean, here's the moon, here's the ocean, right? Where do you think the high tides, low tides come from? Just the energy that's coming and pulsating off the moon. It causes high tides, low tides. And you know, I'm going to also talk about, when I do talk about the one on the moons, and that one's coming up fairly soon on a podcast, that I actually had to go when I was writing for a newspaper. I had to interview, you know, the doctors, the police, the psych wards, I mean, a whole bunch of people, and say, oh God, I need some information. Do you notice a difference, any difference, energy difference, when it's a different moon phase? And they all talked about when it's a full moon. So it don't mean, you know, you're going to grow hair on you like a werewolf. You're going to start howling at the moon. That stuff's for the freaking movies. Come on, okay? Learn the facts about stuff, that because your body is like 70, 80% water. Why do you think more babies are born? The water breaks. You're going to start having babies more. There's more violence. There's more domestic violence. All these things happen because the body has so much water, and just the moon itself is throwing off an energy. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm going to save you all the good stuff for that podcast. But I'm just bringing up tidbits of stuff so you know that I know what I'm talking about. And I want you to learn. I want you to delve in. I don't want you to go around life being a dumb bunny. Well, I don't know. I don't really think about it. I know a little bit. Somebody told me something about that. I want you to understand that sounds really, I don't want to say airhead, but how many years have you been on the planet? I mean, realistically, say it out loud. I'm not going to hear it. You know, nobody's going to hear it. Psst, psst. How old are you? How many? So you're 365 days a year. You've been on the planet 365 days a year, times however many age year numbers you are, and you don't know this stuff? What the heck have you been doing with your time here? I mean, do you sit there and only stare at sports? You only stare. I only watch this. I only watch that. I only watch comedy. I only do this. I only read love novels. For the love of God. I mean, you're a multi-dimensional person. Do you really want to use up your visit and your time here and not knowing things? And you know what? There are some people, they do want to be an ostrich, stick their head in the ground, or here's a really crude one. They want to stick their head right up their rump and they prefer to be up there in that dark abyss because they really don't want to know or think about anything. Well, I do believe we're going to have to give account to the Creator one day of how we used our time and our hours when we were here on the planet. And some of it's going to be a little bit embarrassing. You did what? So you woke up when? You did what all day? You thought about what? You watched what? You read what? What did you do? That gift. Do you know there's people who are dying? They would give anything. They get a really bad diagnosis. They would give anything to go out and buy time. And they don't even, if they were filthy rich, they can't even go buy time. And here you are blowing it out your tailpipe. You're just blowing out all these hours you have. You're just blowing through your day, or you're going around complaining or, what's wrong with the world? You know what I saw on the news today? For the love of God, when are you going to invest and start using all these wonderful things that God gave us? And energy is very important because it's important how you're going to use it, because we're each given energy and we're using it to the positive and the negative. So let me see what other things here. There are also in relationships, you're going to find that you're drawn towards certain people and you're recoiled by certain people. So when you've had a prototype means a type of person who, let's just say they were mean, they were cruel, they were sharp, they were abusive. Somewhere in that energy field, you got addicted to it. You might have hated what happened to you. You might have loathed how it felt, but there's also been an energy transfer between you and a violent and angry individual. Or more, and then you go on and you say, yeah, I've had a whole bunch of them, man. Everybody I get, there's some kind of a nutbag. They're angry. They're this, they're that. I mean, where am I? How do I keep getting these people? And then you don't even want to date. You don't even want to go out. You don't even trust yourself anymore because you think, look what I keep magnetizing. Well, there's an energy because once we've allowed ourselves to be around something and it's absorbed, remember we were saying it gets inside of you. Now it's a magnet. We're going to do a whole podcast on you, me, and how we're human magnets. Oh, that's going to be a doozy. But when you're magnetized towards something and the longer you've stayed in it, those memories are also absorbed in you. And because you're carrying them around, you never released them, or you hid them, or you didn't want nobody to know how embarrassed you were that you went through that, or you keep reliving them, like rewind, you keep going back over them. You see, you're going to start actually being around people who are going to do the same thing to you. And you think, how could this happen to me again? Because you never really flushed it out. So when you do go in for life readings, and we call them life readings, we call them life coaching, whatever. And that's what I've done for 33 years. I used to answer questions on radio and TV. We go in and we're able to see what you have absorbed, what type of things you've been around, and how to wring them out and dispel, get rid of them, so you don't keep magnetizing the same things and the same kind of people to you. I think those things are really interesting. Let me just see. Anything else really I want to look here? Oh, there's just so many things. I have a few things up on the board here. So I'm gonna cut it short today. I'm gonna leave you a little bit hungry. I want you to be hungry for information. I don't want you to go around like, Stevie Wonder, Helen Keller, playing blind to things. By the way, you're not blind. You aren't blind. And it's disgusting if you're going around acting blind, because you're not. Okay? You also are not stupid. I loathe the word stupid and dumb. You are not. You are not stupid and dumb, even if some ignorant person went and called you that. But you're acting sometimes very, how do you say, stupid and dumb. You're playing dumb, you're acting because you really don't want to know. And just remember, going back to what we were talking about, Atlantis and energy and everything, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. It's like getting on a bike. Once you've learned how to do it, you might be a little wobbly if you haven't done it for a long time. But I'm going to tell you, knowledge is power. And it goes into your think tank. We're going to talk about how you retain information, everything good or bad you've ever seen in your life. But we're talking about this energy thing, and it's so important that you start to fill yourself with good energy. You start magnetizing it towards yourself, and you're ready. You have to be ready and say to yourself, I am ready and done to get rid of all the negative, toxic energy that I have absorbed because you go stand in front of your microwave, honey, you're absorbing it. You stand in front of a X-ray machine at your dentist or doctor, honey, I hate to tell you, but you're absorbing it. So everything and everyone you're around, at work, at home, at play, wherever you are, you're absorbing it. And you got to pay attention to who it is and quit minimizing what people are. And when you don't feel really good around them and you've had enough and you've really decided, you know what? You know what? And most people, when people who are scary are so overwhelming, you lose your voice. You don't say anything back, or they scare you. That is where you have to go and talk to the Creator. And I need to, pump it up. I need to get strong and speak through me that I can actually get rid and throw these people out of my life. And there's nothing wrong with throwing people out of your life when you realize it's unhealthy for you. Okay, it's like extracting a bad tooth. Even if you had those teeth and those people with you for many years, when the tooth gets bad and it gets painful and it's infecting you, it's time to pull it out. And sometimes when you pull it out, you know what? Sure, you got a little empty hole in there, but you know what? They do a thing, they put implants in today, and they're better and prettier than what was there originally. Something to think about. So today it was energy. Please, if you enjoyed this, if this tweaked you, hit like. I would love it. I thank you if you hit like, because you know what? We're going to be able to do tons and tons more of these. Also hit subscribe. And I can't wait to have you back to visit with me again on All Aboard Wisdom. Roxy Carter. Bye.